Hi, and welcome to the Weekly Unfold with me, Ramat Tejani. Currently recording this intro from my parents' house. Just checking the light, and it looks great. But I'm about to head home, so yeah, I'll probably record the rest of it on the way. It's been a week of in between things and reflections, which have been good. So I came to see my dad. And so, yeah, let's get into this week's Weekly Unfold. Alright, so whilst I wait for my dad before we leave the house, let's get into the one ask that I made. The ask that I made was all about recommendations of non-fiction and books for me to read or to listen to, and of shows to watch, like series, Netflix series, Prime, Disney Plus, whatever it is. I'm really bad at watching or sitting down to watch a whole series of things, and I'm trying to befriend boredom and not having to do a lot of bits and pieces. And that is going to currently include watching Netflix series or the odd series wherever. And so before I'd be like, who's gonna watch the series for like 8 episodes? Who's got that time? Apparently I need to learn to have that time, so I'm leaning into that. So I've been asking for recommendations. If you have any, please drop it in the comments because I'm open to it. In terms of genres, anything that is kind of like to do with like psychology, like I can do like a psychological thrillers. I don't mind the odd comedy here and there. Nothing too sci-fi-ish because that's going to confuse me, and I'm not really here for that. Or fantasy, not really here for that sort of life story. But yeah, I've been embracing that and been asking for recommendations. So I'm reading a book at the moment, which is, I think it's called like the African life of African women, the sex life of African. I've got the name wrong. I will put the picture somewhere, which has been an interesting kind of like piece around different women's perspectives. It's actually non-fiction, and I've been looking for fiction, but it's been nice to hear and read other people's stories. So yeah, any recommendations for books to read that are non-fiction, because it's not every day you learn something new, or things to watch or movies to watch. I will say I went to the theatre with my good friend Lucinda, and we watched a kind of like immersive play called Witness for the Prosecution. And the lady who sat next to me said I should watch the actual movie. It's based on an Agatha Christie short story. So I am going to watch that movie. So that is something that I've got in the kind of like works ready to watch. So yeah, that's it. That was my one ask this week. Okay, so onto my failure for the week. I was this week's year old when I found out that my sleep tracking app, Daddy Tejani, getting involved in my video. He loves it.
You can see this one, right? See how it is?
Yeah, it's much smaller.
Yeah, that's so small because it's too much is that.
I'm going to stop this and come back in a second.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So we've left the house. Daddy said he doesn't want to be involved in my weekly video diaries. So he's ahead of me and I'm behind him. So that I don't include him. Anyway, my one failure this week was that I didn't realize that the tracker on my watch that tracks how long I sleep actually only tracks when I sleep. So, I was like, oh, I went to bed at 11, woke up at 6. I got 7 hours sleep. No, it doesn't track. Like, it actually tracks the time that you are awake and whatnot. So say you got up to go to the toilet, or you didn't actually sleep until 12 because your brain hadn't stopped functioning or stopped going crazy. It tracks everything. I was very new to this information. So yeah, that was my one failure for the week. Okay, I finished dropping off my dad, and he's hilarious. Anywho's, let's get into the 2 reminders or lessons for the week. So first lesson / reminder I had was that people won't always know how you're doing, and people might assume that you're doing really well and you're doing okay because you're smiling as you go through life, right? And we all know when you're smiling when you go through life, people must be fine. But this week was a really good reminder to ask the question, how are you really doing? And to ask it more than once. It's not... People ask me often, like, how are you? How are you? And I'm actually quite good at saying how I really am. But I had a conversation with a friend today. She was like, I had no idea. And I was like, yeah, I guess. But she's like, well, we spoke and like we've had conversations and I still had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, I guess there's only elements that I shared. Because I also didn't want to burden her. Like she was going through her own things. So yeah, it was a good reminder to ask the question, how are you really doing? And often to add a time concept, a time piece to it. So how are you doing today? How are you doing this week? How are you doing this month? That's the lesson I learned after I lost my mum. People be like, how are you? And I'll be like, right now, I'm fuming at the world. But adding that time context can sometimes be really helpful as well. Second lesson / reminder, I really like walking. I've forgotten how much I like walking. This week I have gotten back into walking a bit more regularly and not doing like massively long walks, but just taking in the day with a walk here and there. And I've forgotten how much I really, 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 really like walking. And so, yeah, just a reminder to walk sometimes. Not every day, get on the tube, get on the bus, get on the Uber, get in a car. Sometimes walk. It's great. You get to see different parts of the concrete jungle that aren't even concrete jungle. And you never know who you might bump into either. So yeah, here's to much more walking. All right, let's move on to the next thing. So the first thing that I am super grateful and thankful for this week is honest, hard and honest conversations. Now, what do I mean? I just was walking with my dad, and we were just having like conversations about life, and it made me realize how, I don't know if lucky is the right word, but how grateful and thankful I am to be able to have some of those conversations with him, because a lot of people can't have those conversations. And yeah, it was great to be able to have those conversations. So super grateful and thankful for that. Second thing is the fact that I have been forced is maybe the wrong word, but challenged to take a break away from LinkedIn. I'm often on LinkedIn. It's my default social media channel, as opposed to, I don't know, Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is. And I've been challenged to step away from it for a little bit and give myself a bit of a break, and that's proven interesting. But I'm glad for it. So yeah, super thankful for that and the learnings that I'm getting there. Oh, there's a train, and it's super windy. Ooh. Third thing that I am super grateful and thankful for this week, I want to say the sun. Now, I love the sun. It's actually a bit cloudy today. Actually, let me show you my view. So, skies are actually a little bit blue in places. But I am super grateful and thankful for the sun. It does amazing things. What I will say, though, is that sometimes even good weather can't change how you're feeling. We've had a great week of sunshine here in the UK, and it started like at the beginning of the week. And to be completely honest and frank, I spent the first 2 days of the week in bed, unable to get out really, just trying to navigate whatever was going on in this kind of like mental fog that I was experiencing. That cleared substantially enough for me to be able to step out and actually enjoy the sun and be super thankful and grateful for it. But it is super important for me to recognize that even good weather can't come and fix things. I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be sunny, I'll be fine, I'll be able to enjoy life. Nah, that's not actually the case. Oh, that was a deep step. That was not exactly the case. So yeah, just the sun, chef's kiss. It's not always the solution to my problems, to my challenges, as I'd like to think. So that's that. As we look to week 19 of 52, we're in May now, and for me, May is always about mindset. That's kind of like the theme for the month. And I'm kind of thinking about how our inner dialogue shapes our outer perspective, the way we show up in the world, etc. So I guess as we look into, loud car. I'm like outside expecting the world to be quiet as I record. As we look into the week ahead, I'm just challenging myself to really pause and think about the inner dialogue that I'm having with myself, about myself, because it's not always true. So I guess my question for you is, are things that you're saying to yourself about yourself, are they true? As you say things out loud, as you think about things, just ask yourself that question: is this true? Before you kind of navigate whatever else you're navigating. So that's it. I'm heading home. As I said, after dropping my dad off to do his escapades in the world. And yeah, so as always, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's unfold our weeks together. And I will see you next week. Stay out of trouble, unless it's good trouble, in which case, go wild.